At a Casey's convenience store in Texas County, Missouri, a store employee called police after her teenage daughter took her car without permission, even after being told not to drive it. A short time later, deputies found the same red Volkswagen Jetta crashed into a power pole on Deer Lick Street. The body-worn camera footage begins as the responding officer arrives to investigate the crash, check on the teen driver's condition, and piece together what led to the wreck.
Stand up, you're going over here away from the power line.
Oh, there's a kitten. There's a kitten.
Stand up.
There's a kitten.
Right away, notice the environment the officers are walking into. This isn't a calm traffic stop. It's a crash scene with downed power lines, emotional instability, and a visibly distressed teen. Officers immediately shift into safety mode, moving her away from danger, but her fixation jumps elsewhere entirely. From kittens to kids, anything except the questions being asked. That scattered focus is a massive red flag. In DUI investigations, officers are trained to observe not just speech, but emotional regulation and attention. Ask yourself, is this shock, intoxication, or something deeper unraveling in real time?
Sit down.
There's a kitten.
Leah, how much you had to drink tonight?
There's a kitten.
Okay, I don't care about the kid. How much you had to drink tonight?
I care a lot.
What?
I care a lot.
How much alcohol have you drank tonight?
Not that much.
This exchange is critical. When the officer asks how much she's had to drink, the response, "Not that much," is vague, dismissive, and immediately defensive. That's not accidental. In DUI cases, ambiguity often replaces honesty because suspects underestimate how impaired they really are. Watch how she tries to redirect, arguing about whether she was driving instead of answering the substance question directly. That matters legally. Officers don't need a confession, they need indicators. Slurred speech, erratic behavior, refusal to comply, and inconsistent statements all start stacking the deck against her here.
Do you mind blowing in a PBT for me?
Sure.
She was saying I was driving, you see me walking.
Yeah. You got another straw.
So fucking wet. Kill yourself, bitch.
What?
You got me so fucked up.
What? Leah, what? What'd you say?
Nothing.
We'll do. You want to stand up and conduct?
No.
She's refusing.
I don't got shit for you.
Okay.
I will say,
I don't give a fuck.
when I was walking to Casey's with me before she took the car, Bryce Corley was in there. And then I walked back to the house. She left. When I got here, she said Bryce was the one driving.
You're lying out of your ass.
That's what she told me
You're
when I
lying
got
out of
here.
your ass.
She might just be that incoherent, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then she said he ran off. And
You're lying out of your ass.
Well, I know where Bryce lives, so.
I don't care about shit.
she was walking up, I thought that thing was in the car.
I hate you so much. Because he crashed with me in that car. He crashed with me. I fucking hate you.
There was a time when
Who crashed with you?
Him! He crashed with me!
Bro. Keep blowing.
No, wake up. Yeah, let her reset.
Stop. Alright, ready? Blow. Keep going. Blow.
Consistent. You gotta let her reset.
Take a deep breath. Alright, ready? Deep breath and blow.
Stay steady. Keep going.
Alright, put your mouth all the way on it. All right.
for 2 times.
Listen, you put your mouth all the way on it. Blow steadily like you're blowing on a balloon, okay?
I'm trying.
Take your deep breaths.
I'm trying.
All right, blow. Put your mouth on it. Keep going. Blow.
Once it starts beeping like that, you gotta just let it.
Can I try again?
Deep breath.
Big breath.
Big breath.
Big breath in. Keep going.
Not blowing in it. You gotta put it in your mouth. Put it in your mouth and blow. Deep breath.
Last time, Leah, or you're going to jail. Last time.
This breath test attempt is painful to watch and incredibly telling. Officers explain the process repeatedly, offer breaks, demonstrate proper technique, and issue clear warnings. At this point, refusal or failure isn't just about breath capacity, it's about compliance. Legally, refusing or sabotaging a test can carry consequences just as severe as failing it. And notice the shift in tone from patient to firm. That's not escalation, it's procedure. Once officers believe impairment is present, they're obligated to move forward. Here's the question. Was this inability or avoidance?
Last time. I'll give you a second. Catch your breath.
Let me try again.
Okay, just keep taking your breath. Slow your breathing down.
Let me try again.
When you're ready. And you blow hard. Okay? Consistent, blow hard. It's not too hard.
Just stay steady.
Okay.
Don't put your hands on it, I'll hold it. Alright, you ready? It's resetting again.
You can sit there for a second and time it.
Keep going, almost there.
Stop.
You're done.
Hey, Tom. Did you treat me as an for a public assist at Mentally Park?
Good sobriety test. It's a series of assessments of whether or not you determine that you can be safely driving and operating a motor vehicle.
I don't want to drive right now.
Will you do this field sobriety test? Will you do field sobriety test? Will you do it?
Yeah.
Come over here with me. Leah, come over here to the front of the car.
Alright, jail.
Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back. One white female detained.
No.
Anything whatsoever that's going to poke, sticker.
No.
Copy 702 will get Jason route.
You take anything with you to the jail, it's going to be an extra charge. She's alright for now.
42.
Come on, go. Go to the car. Go to the car. Put your feet all the way in there.
They'll just be a rollback.
See where she could have
What
went.
should I do? If not this? You know what I mean?
I can't tell you what to do.
I know.
Okay? I can't tell you what to do. But when I'm standing here with your daughter in handcuffs, getting ready to haul her off for stealing a car and possibly being drunk and driving,
Right.
are you going to follow up with these charges?
This is one of the most emotionally heavy moments in the entire case. The officer turns directly to the mother and asks a question that carries real legal weight. Are you pressing charges? And she says yes. That decision triggers everything that follows. Vehicle theft, DWI, possible jail time, it all hinges here. But listen closely. The mother mentions rehab, relapse concerns, and fear. This isn't revenge. It's desperation. Parents sometimes believe legal consequences are the only intervention left. Would you have made the same call, knowing what it could do to your child's future?
Yes. The only way that she won't have charges pressed is if she comes back with my car first. You know what I mean? If she comes home, I'll call you guys and say I got my car back. If you guys get her,
Time you do that, and I go over there and write a report and everything, and send it up and have it reported as stolen, I'm going to drive by and the car's going to be parked there. And I'm going to go to your house, I'm going to knock on the door, and I'm going to arrest her.
do it then. Because she didn't bring it back to me.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
And you think she's been drinking?
Yeah. I'm not like 100%, but her demeanor's off and I could smell it on her breath. And she just got out of rehab on Tuesday. And she has an appointment on Thursday to go to her therapist to go back to rehab so she can go to sober living.
Alright, can I call now?
What's happening?
You're being arrested for DWI and stealing a motor vehicle. So come on out.
711-23 ESO 704, 705. If you're inside, could you have control open the salad port for me, please?
No, I'm not going to unarrest you.
Inside the station, she continued to resist officers, refusing to sit down when instructed to do so, arguing with deputies, and pulling away until she was finally restrained and placed in a...
Once inside the station, resistance continues, and that's crucial. Every refusal to sit, every argument, every pull away adds a new charge. Then comes the breath test result, and it's staggering. A BAC of 0.268 isn't borderline, it's extreme intoxication. That level impairs judgment, coordination, and memory. It also eliminates most defense arguments about barely drinking. Combined with a crash, a stolen vehicle, and no valid license, this case shifts from concerning to catastrophic. At this point, the evidence speaks louder than any words she's offered all night.
holding cell. A breath test later showed a blood alcohol concentration of 0.268%, more than 3 times the legal limit, confirming she had been drinking heavily before taking her mother's car. She now faces multiple charges, including driving while intoxicated, resisting arrest, tampering with a motor vehicle, and driving without a valid license.
This case is a sobering example of how fast poor decisions can compound into life-altering consequences. A stolen car, a serious crash, confirmed extreme intoxication, and repeated resistance left officers with little discretion. The final charges, DWI, resisting arrest, vehicle tampering, and driving without a valid license, reflect not just one mistake, but a pattern of dangerous behavior. Beyond the courtroom, this raises bigger questions about addiction, accountability, and intervention. If you found this case as shocking as we did, make sure to hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more jaw-dropping courtroom and body cam breakdowns.
For more real police encounters and unfiltered body cam footage, don't forget to subscribe and join the channel for exclusive content.